Hey guys, Joel's here with another reasoning sesh, and today I'm going to be talking about how Divine Source lined up justice for the enemy using the most unexpected of allies.
Come now and let us reason together. Come now, we can talk it over.
So if you like these videos, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more like content. I honestly make videos like this all the time, and no matter what YouTube did with shadow banning and dropping subscribers and all that, they can't stop the truth and they can't silence this message. So you can also check me out on some other platforms. Links are down in the description. But with that out of the way, I'm just going to jump straight into the text. Honestly, I was reading this one last night and Source was just like, you got to share this one because this is also very fitting with the times that we're living in right now and what we're about to step into and experience in our society. You know, a lot of times we think that the leadership is going to be the ones to take care of and wipe out the enemy, but actually sometimes Yahweh has some more obscure people, or even those who we don't even suspect are going to be the ones to take the enemy out. So today's story is actually about Yarel, but before we get into that, we got to set a bit of a backstory with Deborah and Barak. Now, Deborah was a prophetess during the time of the judges in ancient Israel, before they had an actual kingship. And what she would do is she would sit under a palm tree and people from all over would come to her for advice and counsel, and she would guide them as to what they were to do. And there were other people like running the armies and other parts of the society, and they came to her for guidance. This was originally what the prophets of old actually did. And that's why they held such a high office, was because they were the advisors to the kings and to the generals of the army and all that kind of stuff. But in the story, she calls out one of these generals whose name is Barak. And she says to him, "Has not Yahweh God of Israel commanded, saying, Go and draw towards Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and the children of Zebulun. And I will draw unto you to the river Kishon Sisera, the captain of Yabin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into your hand." Now Sisera was the general of Yabin's army, who was the king of Canaan, and he was oppressing the Israelites during this time with these chariots of iron. But Barak was a bit of a timid guy, and he said to her, "If you will go with me, then I will go with you. But if you will not go with me, then I will not go." So you can really kind of see his character seeping through here. So she said to him, "I will surely go with you, notwithstanding the journey that you take shall not be for your honor." Meaning that at the end of the day, you're not going to get the credit for this, for Yahweh shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. So after the confrontation on Mount Tabor, it says Yahweh discomfited. The word actually means terrified or terrorized, to just divert the plans of Sisera and all his chariots and all his hosts with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down off his chariot and fled away on his feet. But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the host unto Cheroshet of the Gentiles, and all the host of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left. But Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Yarel, the wife of Heber the Kenite. For there was peace between Yabin the king of Hazor and the house of Heber the Kenite. So Yabin had actually made peace with this guy, but the story takes a very ironic turn here when Yarel, the wife of Heber, went out to meet Sisera and said unto him, "Turn in, my lord, turn in to me, fear not." And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. Now, so he sees her, and he's like, hey, this is the wife of that guy I made peace with. So he's expecting lodging and to be accommodated here. And she takes him in, teases him, and gets him into her tent. And back in this day, the woman's tent was actually separate from the main tent of the man of the household. So actually, by going into her tent, she wasn't trespassing the agreement that her husband had made with this man when she does what she's about to do here. And he, Sisera, said unto her, "Give me, I pray you, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty." And she opened a bottle of milk, and gave him drink, and covered him. Again he said unto her, "Stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be when any man does come and inquire of you, and say, Is there any man here? That you shall say, No." Then Yarel, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it into the ground. For he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. And back in the day, of course, women were the people who set up the tent, so she knew how to handle this hammer, and she drove that peg right into the earth. But interestingly, the story says she drove it in through his head. And what we're about to see is the enemy struck in the head, so much so that they're not only incapacitated, but they die for good. And it's not going to come about by the actual generals or the actual people that are leading the warfare or that are in the public eye that have taken the office of leading the warfare. We're actually going to see it done by the underground, the people that have been hiding in the shadows, but the pressure has just revealed that inner fierce mama bear, you know? And it's going to be so shocking that these are the groups that take the beast down. Because even as the story ends, it says, as Barak pursued after Sisera, Yael came out to meet him and said unto him, come, and I will show you the man whom you seek. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temples. So don't just think like you're just some average Joe and that Source can't use you to actually take the beast down, because even though people expect the beast to be taken down by these big and powerful organizations and entities, really, it's us that will rise up. And while Deborah prophesied and said that a woman would take him out, and Barak's first impression might be, okay, maybe Deborah is going to be the one to take him out, because Deborah was in the place of a leader. It was actually someone who was absolutely not in the place of a leader, and actually someone whose husband was allied with the very enemy. So we're looking at a very big conflict of interest here. We're going to see people turn on each other, and even other people that are witnesses to what was going on behind the scenes come out and expose a lot of what has been going on. And we're going to see this enemy literally taken out by the head. So keep the faith, stay the course, and stay optimistic, because Source is really bringing to pass a new way of doing things, and we are the light that's shining into the world, that's downloading the kingdom of heaven into this earth at this time, because once this page turns, we're going to enter into a whole new timeline, and we're going to turn the page to the next prophetic rage. This story is going to be old news very soon, and we're not even going to be able to talk about it because there's going to be other things and other issues on the table. And literally there will be no point in rehashing the past. So step up and be the one that Source really wants to use in this time, so that Source can use you to really bring to pass the utopia that you know you're deserving of and that you know you've come here in this lifetime to experience. Don't hold back, and you can really be that fierce one that drives the tent peg into the head of this enemy. So I love you guys. I'll check you in the next reasoning sesh. Joel signing out once again. Agape. Salaam. Namaste. Shalom.